Good morning. This channel is all about pre-retirement and preparing for the big day and the moment of freedom that hopefully all of us get to enjoy in our lifetime. But you want to mess it up real quick? If you don't know about the concept of instant gratification, I guarantee you're going to have regrets in regards to your retirement and your retirement planning. Stay tuned for more information about how instant gratification can ruin your pre-retirement plans. Welcome back to my channel, Ponderings of the Pre-Retired. My name's Lois, and wanted to talk today a little bit about instant gratification and how instant gratification can really affect us when it comes to our retirement and our pre-retirement as well. Just kind of navigating these years before we retire and trying to make sure that we're using these years to the best of our ability to help prepare us for a comfortable and satisfying retirement time. So part of that is kind of looking at instant gratification and what that actually means and how that's kind of maybe playing out in our lives. In an earlier video that I did last week, I talked about some of the financial mistakes that I made earlier on in my life that kind of affected my retirement and my that could have been devastating if I hadn't made some changes. And a lot of the mistakes that I made in my earlier life had to do with instant gratification. And honestly, it's still something that I have to work on a regular basis. And I'm sure maybe this might resonate with some of you as well, where we kind of want what we want when we want it. And I also talked about in my earlier video, about my mom and how frugal she was and what great examples she showed me and my siblings, brothers and sisters, about delayed gratification and putting things off and spending wisely and pinching pennies and being frugal. She gave us all the tools. But I kind of feel like our society, in a way, sends messages to us that we deserve to have good things and have all the good things and to have them right now. And so there's a lot of messaging out there from lots of different places that kind of set us up in a way to participate in instant gratification activities. And now with online shopping and not even having to leave your home to go and purchase things, it just makes it all the more easier for us to just click a button and it gets shipped to us, and there you have it. So really wanting to dig into some of this and hopefully kind of get some of you maybe thinking along the same lines around delaying gratification and using what we might spend today to have available to us in the future in our retirement. I had given an example in my previous video, the 4 financial mistakes I made in the past, and talked about a cup of coffee and a cup of coffee every day. So buying a cup of coffee at the drive-through on my way to work every single day. It seemed like a very small thing. And it actually is if it's taken into, in just one incident. But what had happened for me was that I created a habit of going to the coffee shop every single day on my way to work. And so over time, when I finally did a spending journal where I just wrote down everything I was spending money on so I could try to find leaks and holes in my budget, that cup of coffee came glaring back at me because when I added up the money that I was spending over a month, over a year, over 2, 3, 4, multiple years, it was a lot of money. That ends up being over $440 a year. And if I do that for 10 years, that's well over $5,000 in 10 years of money from one cup of coffee that I would like to see in my bank account or in my retirement account more than I'd like to see in McDonald's coffers. So, those are the type of things that sometimes we think, well, it's just a cup of coffee, or it's just it's a new shirt, or it's, another new pair of shoes, or it's getting my nails done every week, or things like that. And I get it. Everybody wants to be able to occasionally treat themselves, and we shouldn't deny ourselves of the occasional. I shouldn't deny myself the occasional cup of coffee at McDonald's, or you shouldn't deny yourself of the occasional getting your fingernails done. But if we're establishing a pattern of spending money that we may be better off having in the future, and myself, I will forego the cup of coffee every day because I want that money in my retirement fund. I want to be able to have an enjoyable and comfortable retirement, and that's more important to me than having the cup of coffee every day. So now, if I was working outside the home, which I'm not, I work at home now. I'm a telehealth therapist for a substance use disorder clinic. But if I was, I guarantee you, I would have a thermos or I would have a cup with my coffee in it, and I would carry my coffee with me. Because again, in these last several years, I've gotten very, very serious about plugging up those leaks and finding them, and then creating other solutions and ways of being able to address that. So if you are in the pre-retirement years, or even if you're not, start to look at some of your spending habits and try to identify potentially even some small areas where if you were to change that up and create a different scenario or a different situation, you could put more of that money into your bank account, your savings account, your stocks, your bonds, your investments, what have you, your cash under your mattress, whatever you're doing to prepare for your retirement. So look for those small leaks, and they can add up to big results. Now, there's other situations where instant gratification can become problemsome, and that is spending on big ticket items. We get a fantasy about wanting to have an RV camping experience, or we want to create a situation where we have a place to go every weekend, or something along those lines. But when we really assess our situation, maybe we find that it could be just as beneficial to rent. Like we could rent an RV for a couple weeks and travel with that, or we could do an Airbnb in the woods a couple times a year. I mentioned in an earlier video that my husband and I, we have a membership through Thousand Trails for a cabin pass. And we use that cabin pass 3 or 4 times a year. We pay one yearly fee to have the pass, and we can travel all over the United States to different Thousand Trail resorts, and we can stay in their cabin for free. And we end up using this cabin pass within 40 minutes of our home. We don't even typically use it outside of the state, but we love to camp a few times a year. We love to have our children and friends join us and stay out with us when we're camping. And we get that camping experience. Like, we scratch that itch without having to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on an RV that depreciates in value, in a yearly fee at a campground to have it maybe parked there for the summer. Our summers are short here in Ohio, so we don't have all year to be able to take advantage of a campground. Usually it's April through maybe November 1st is about as long as you're going to get at a campground in Ohio. So spending all that money to get that experience, and again, you want to have that experience, you want to still live. Even though we're in pre-retirement, we're preparing for the future, we're being frugal, we're being strict, we're watching our money, we're plugging holes, we're trying to identify how to change some of our behaviors, especially as they have to do with instant gratification. But you still want to live, because the reality is, at the end of the day, none of us know when the sand runs out. So we still want to be able to enjoy life and live to the fullest while still being disciplined and frugal. So try to find ways to be able to do some of the things that you want to do on a budget, or where we could potentially do it and not have to have that level of investment of an RV or a cabin in the woods or things of that nature. So those big ticket items, those vacations, those occasions in our life where we might be tempted to sign on the dotted line for something that we're going to regret later on down the road. So think about that, but also realize that you don't have to go without. You don't have to be in a place of deprivation, because if you're in deprivation and you're feeling like you're just working and coming home and paying bills and saving money, and you're not having fun, you're not enjoying life, you're probably not going to stick with the system. So keep that in mind as well, and remember to continue to have fun and enjoy life as well. Some other things that have helped me to avoid instant gratification is putting in place like little systems that you do that sort of force you in a little way to delay the decision. So in other words, like with Christmas shopping, I do this with the grandkids' toys and things that I'm purchasing for them on an online basis. Is I will go online, say on Amazon, and I'll have the list from their parents of the things that they need or they want. And first of all, I set up a budget of how much I'm going to spend, and I don't typically go over that budget. So around the holidays, setting up, $100 per person, or, things like that. We've gotten away from adult gifts. We do gifts for the kids, but again, we set a limit on how much. And so I go online, say to Amazon, and I purchase, or I pick out everything for all of the grandchildren. I have 3 grandchildren. Their names Johnny, Elliot, and Aiden. So I'll pick out the 3 for the 3 of them, the gifts that I'd like to get them, trying to stay within that budget that I've set, or we've set, my husband and I. And then I sit on it. I don't click checkout. I click add to cart, and then I let it sit. And it's not going to go anywhere. It's still going to be there when you come back. But maybe in that point in time, after you've added everything to the cart, you may have other thoughts, or maybe you'll talk to the parents and the parents will say, oh no, they already have that. We actually already got that. So maybe get them something different or a different size, or maybe we just realize that that's a little bit more than what we wanted to spend, or whatever the case may be. Or we might see it go on sale, and even online they do have prime deals and different sales, and we may see it go on sale. So I leave things in the cart and I don't buy them for a period of time, and that's called like a cooling off period, because we can get going so quickly online and we're like, oh yeah, that looks great. Oh yeah, he would love that. And I get that because I love my grandkids too and I want to give them everything. However, I also want to be reasonable about it and I don't want to go overboard. They don't even appreciate it when they get too much because they just go through things and they don't even look at them, and they don't probably even typically play with them or use them and very much. So I would rather get a few meaningful, very meaningful gifts than to get a whole ton of things and they don't really appreciate it and it really hurts our budget. So take that time for a cooling off period. And maybe it's a cooling off period for you too, because the act of shopping can kind of give us a dopamine jolt, and just the add to cart, add to cart, add to cart kind of gives us that trigger, and it can be addictive in and of itself. So take a cooling off period, whether you're doing, like I was talking about, buying gifts for the kids for Christmas or buying things for yourself or for others. Put things in the cart and let them sit there. Even if you just let them sit there for 24 hours, I cannot tell you how many times I went back to the cart and deleted things or removed things from the cart. So remove things, delete things if you need to, but give yourself 24 to 48 hours of a cooling off period. And really, you should do that with any major purchases as well. Give yourself some time to think about it. Sometimes we just get our emotions involved and we sign on the dotted line. And I don't know about you guys, but I have regrets about things that I made decisions about in the moment. And it was usually some emotion that was involved in that decision, and I regretted it later. So just wanting to kind of like point out some areas that might be helpful to give you a step back and give you an opportunity to delay that gratification, even if it's just for 24 to 48 hours. Yeah, I think those are some good tips. Look for budget leaks, look for those situations where, an everyday activity over time, like my cup of coffee, adds up to quite a chunk of money. Take some time to cool off before hitting the checkout button or purchasing things online, and really look at what your long-term goals are. Look at, by being more disciplined and delaying your gratification, how is that going to benefit you in the future? How is that going to benefit you when it comes to your retirement? How much more money will you be able to put into your retirement? How much less worry will you have on your plate? Less stress will you have on your plate if you institute just a few easy ways of delaying gratification? My hope for you and me and all of us at this stage in our life is that we're going to have a really comfortable, happy retirement. So, changing how we do things today may help to really guarantee that for us. Dave Ramsey has a really great quote that he says in his Financial Peace University. And he said, sometimes we have to live like no one else so that we can live like no one else. So delaying gratification today could help you in the future to live like nobody else. Have a great day. I hope this has been helpful. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, like our channel and smash that bell so that you get notification of when we put out new videos. My name is Lois from Ponderings of the Pre-Retired, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.